Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm gonna rant about more retarded shit. From Bounding to Comics, and eventually, Bleeding Full. Loki director Kate Herron confirms Focus on series wants to acknowledge Loki as bisexual. Well, after seeing the release poster in which they announced that his gender was fluid, or that they included a female Loki, both in the comics to Virtual Signal and in here, it's kind of like when you're taking a shit. No, it's like when you want to take a shit. You go to the toilet in the middle of the night, and it's nippy cold. You know the toilet rim is going to be cold. You pull your pants down and you prepare your bunghole, your fat butt to sit on the toilet rim, but you stop in the middle and say, damn, I'm prepared to shove my butt in that cold toilet rim. You're prepared, you're mentally prepared, you're going in prepared to have that shock up your bunghole, but then when you sit, you still feel the shock. You still feel the impact of the cold toilet rim of your fucking bunghole. In your fucking butt. That's a good analogy. Analogy for this. It's exactly the same thing. You know you're prepared after all of those shits that tell you, hey, be prepared for the shock, be prepared for the shock. And then, when you see it, you're still shocked. Loki director Kate Herron recently revealed that her goal with the Loki series was to acknowledge that the character is bisexual. Herron's comments come following the release of the third episode titled Lamentis. In the episode, Sofia DiMartino, Loki variant, and Hiddleston Loki have a conversation about their love life. This show doesn't look that good. I saw us covering it, and so far I don't feel the need to watch it. Not even contacting Scurvy, Pegleg, or a pirate-carrying dude to watch it, but still. Anyway, that episode, Sofia DiMartino, Loki variant, DiMartino, Loki asked, how about you? You're a prince. She adds, must have been would-be princesses or perhaps another prince. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. Like I said, the toilet analogy fits perfectly. I knew this was coming, but this was shocking still. It was not only shocking on the shocking type, but cringe as fuck. The dialogue, the lines is cringe. And Loki then replies, a bit of both. I suspect the same of you. Oh, good lord. Herron would not only address the conversation, but shared screenshots of it to her Twitter, where she announced that acknowledging Loki as bisexual was a goal for her in the show. See, people, this is why we must gatekeep. This is why we must keep morons like these out of our hobbies. So not only writers don't end up getting funny ideas and having to rewrite your favorite comic book characters or book characters or things like that, but also the writers or people who will eventually convert this to a TV show or a movie won't get any fucking funny ideas. Even more so, we'll keep those retards out of from recent era out of our hobbies as well. But here we have more examples to why gatekeeping is important. She wrote, for the moment I had joined Loki, it was very important to me and my goal to acknowledge Loki was bisexual. So I could get some virtual signaling pints and smiles.
It is a part of who he is and who I am, so hashtag pride. I know this is my own step, but I'm happy and here to suffer. To say this now canon and hashtag MCU, hashtag Loki, hashtag pride.
Fucking retards. Marvel Studios previously revealed the character is gender fluid in a promo for the show, so he's starting to think that maybe this retard of a director or the person responsible for this also was responsible for this promotional shit. I need coffee. As you can see below, a TVA rap sheet reviews Loki's sex box is marketed as fluid. This is retarded. If I were Loki or anything like that, and he's supposed to be the funny guy, I would have put in there as on sex as, oh yes, please. Yes, please. I definitely want some more. Oh. Hiddleston previously addressed the Loki sexuality and gender fluidity while speaking when TV news back in early June. MTV Josh Horowitz asked, eagle-eyed viewers have noticed from some of the earlier glimpses of the show that in this case file it notes sexuality as fluid, as Loki's sexuality as fluid, and this is something that has been in the comics for years. I guess no, it hasn't been in comics for years, just recently, and because of goddamn fucking infestation on Marvel Comics. The same fucking infestation that caused massive drops in comic sales and massive rejection of the Western comics and graphic novels in general, and why manga is dominating the market for months now. I guess no, officially it's canon in. I guess now officially it's canon in the MCU. Is that something that came up with Michael and Kate as something that was important to officially put on paper? No, it should not. It never is, never was, and it was created because of goddamn fucking retard behind in Marvel Comics who decided to alphabet wash a character. Hiddleston responded, absolutely yes, and absolutely yes, and it has been the story of the character for hundreds if not thousands of years. Loki is a trickster, boundaries and identity has always been fluid and have been enjoying and really enjoyed that. I remember when was the first cast reading about that stuff, and I'm really pleased that we have a place to explore it. God damn it. But, this is why we also must gatekeep extra hard. From Leading Fool, Polygon prefers Lady Loki over the stale white male version. Polygon wrote a funny article about the only recent history of Lady Loki, a concept Michael Straczynski may have come up with at the time he was assigned to Thor Solo's book in the late 2000s as part of the focus on the Loki television series now airing on Disney Plus, and they shoved it in the following lecture. Loki of Norse mythology is notorious for changing shape and reinventing himself at will, but the Marvel Comics version of Loki had been surprisingly stagnant since his early appearances. Even across the multiverse, Loki was always just another mustache-twirling villain prone to elaborate nonsensical schemes born of nothing but bitter jealousy for his brother, but by early 2000s the whole gimmick was a little stale. This is hardly new to me, seeing modern ideologues telling us what to think or to believe about Stan Lee's creation or anybody else's. They believe the mostly the mostly honorable adversary of Thor was stagnant since he began. and stale by the turn of the century rather than after. In other words, they never loved the old stories overseen by Lee and Roy Thomas, assuming they ever read them, and their description of the Loki as a stashed really is ridiculous, and we note that in his regular form he was usually clean-shaven. That stood out was his pretty odd headgear and with curved horns at the front. How come they didn't mention that? The increasingly tedious villainy of Marvel Comics. Loki led to editorial and creative choices that develop him into a more of an anti-hero than outright villain, bringing about renewed interest in the character. And a big part of that transformation is Lady Loki, which was, once again, exceptionally useless, and it shouldn't even exist. Stop gender swapping, stop alphabet washing, stop changing the race of a character just to fit, just to check a box. Create something new. Why can't you do that? No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. That would require too much work, isn't it? With publicity, creating a name, creating a new character from scratch. Things like that takes a lot of work, and these people are so goddamn infused with soy that they have no energy to do any of those things. Right? Anyway, a big part of that transformation is Lady Loki, who started her history in comics by just straight up stealing Sif's body. Altruistic as Loki can be when the mood strikes, Lady Loki was often just as villainous as the bitter, spiteful Loki of the early days. After the events of the Earth-shattering Ragnarok event, Marvel's 2007 Thor ongoing book focused on the Odyssey search for any remaining Asgardians who had survived the fall or been reborn in new forms. Meanwhile, Loki has been reborn into a body intended for Lady Sif. And desiring the use of the body as his own, Loki trapped Sif in the form of an elderly woman in hospice care, rendering her powerless to stop him. By the 5th issue of the series, Lady Loki had made her presence known to Thor, which confused and upset him, not due to Loki's new form necessarily, but because of their complicated history. Moving on, I don't care. Lady Loki nearly caused the death of fan favorite alien buddy of the Thor, Beta Ray Bill, simply by insisting that he was a Skrull in disguise. Oh, for fuck's sake, happily frying many of his servants to death in dinner, in which Thor was forced to kill his own grandfather to save the world. Oh, good lord. Gee, I'm not sure how a character who risks the death of a goodie can be considered as an anti-hero, and certainly not when she leads the death. Loki returned to male form eventually, but even then Lady Loki has made numerous appearances in later Thor comics. See? Gatekeeping! Gatekeeping! Though more as cameos than as a lead of a Loki story. In Loki, Agent of Asgard, she shows up only very briefly as the troubled younger Loki looking for redemption faces down his older, more evil incarnation. Agent of Asgard was all about our beloved anti-hero's first attempts to erase the sins of the past, only to finally accept them. Moving on, confronting Lady Loki was key to unlocking some of Loki's greatest strengths, enabling him to become more heroic. He's supposed to be the villain, you fucking retard. By finally accepting himself as a changeable, even a mercurial figure. They may not have got into the topic, but from a political perspective, a funny thing they may not have noticed is that Loki's return from female to male could echo some of the transgender practitioners who wisely reevaluated their harmful ideology and abandoned the lifestyle. You could almost wonder if they'll be willing to say that Straczynski shouldn't have changed Loki back to his original form. In any case, the directions Marvel's taken with Loki in over a decade are distasteful, pointless sensationalism. And Polygon doesn't explain how these newer storylines are supposedly any good, or better than the pre-2000 storytelling. No wonder they're such a largely worthless news source. Not only that, Marvel is largely a worthless comic book producing place. I mean, the only thing Marvel is good for is due to the IPs it gives Disney, but otherwise the comics are exceptionally forgettable. They are useless bad stories. They are losing and losing and losing ground with manga. They don't seem to, either they realize that and they don't care anymore, or they don't know, and that is kind of worrisome. Anyway, that's something to ponder in some other video. Anyway, if you like this type of content, stay right here on goddamn fucking youtube.com/Dr. Jester. If you like more spicy content, head to BitChute.com/Dr. Jester. Oh, Minds.com/Dr. Jester for spicy and exclusive content. Which eventually I'll get to do it, even though I've been pretty busy lately and I don't know when I'll have more time. Either way, thank you for watching. Have a very good fucking night.